Tyshawn, and I'm a T2 spinal cord injury. Well, I have a T2 spinal cord injury, and the way I got injured was I was shot with a shotgun rifle, a 30 caliber rifle in my chest. As you can see, it didn't stop me, you know. That's why I'm just motivating myself. I'm gonna make my name big like I would have did with sports by just walking again and motivating other kids and giving back to the community and just trying to be the face of the community to let them know it's hope still.
My name is Matt. This is my wife Lori. 57-year-old paraplegic. I got injured last year, about a year and a month ago. Working on my deck at home, I slipped over the railing and taken the board off and ended up 20 feet on the ground. I landed on my lawn roller and left me a T4.
Yeah, my name's Lori. I found Matt injured. He had surgery right away that evening, and we've been pushing through ever since, doing lots of getting back to as normal as we can, or as many things as we used to do.
My name's Michael, 25 years old. I was hurt in 2008. I was 21 years old while attending University of Buffalo. I was assaulted, which rendered me C5 quadriplegic, C5, C6. Like I said, 2008, I was out one night and got assaulted by two kids. I don't remember too much what happened. We went to watch a Sabres game, and then later we went out, and it was late/early in the morning, and two kids assaulted me, broke my neck, and fortunately they did catch the kids, and one got 8 years and the other got 1 year. My sensations got much better. I can feel everywhere. I mean, it's still diminished a little bit as far as like hot and cold temperature in that regards, but I've regained a little bit of movement in my hands, my triceps, my feet, my legs a little bit.
So my name is Sue, and I'm with my husband. I've been in a wheelchair for, this will be 11 years. And we've been married this will be 12 years. My injury came from an accident. Was not a car accident. It was very similar to a car accident. People often assume that, when you say an accident, a car accident. We actually in a plane crash. The airplane that we were in was actually our own plane. It was a small plane, and we were both in it at the time. So we both were in the plane crash.
I came to Strong Hospital by ambulance, and Sue came by helicopter. And we both had broken backs, but I did not have a spinal cord injury, but Sue did.
I really was like out of it. Like I was off med, too much medicine. So I had about 15 operations. I couldn't talk because I had a trach in, but I wish I would have been able to tell them that I'm gonna make it, stop crying and everything, but I couldn't say nothing. So it was like I just had to show them better than I can tell them, man. They see me now.
Well, after I got injured, I did surgery, and I ended up in the ICU for several weeks.
A couple months.
Yeah, it was very scary there. It's like woke up with tubes in your throat and not be able to move your legs, and I was just really afraid of life all of a sudden. It wasn't going to be the same.
When we first came in the hospital, we were mercy flighted in, and they did a quick analysis. And they told Matt then that he would have maybe a 1% chance of ever being able to walk again. And I don't know if he was just like kind of out of it a little bit and was just like, oh man, are you sure? So
I just figured I was an invincible person. It would just heal up and go on. Yeah. Well, when they first told me about my injury and I was not going to be able to walk again, I kind of doubted them. I just couldn't believe it was a permanent thing. definitely a lot of denial in the beginning, and I just figured I'd get up and.
Well, we figured we'd persevere through it.
I thought, because I could feel a little bit, that, oh, I can't be paralyzed. I might be paralyzed temporarily, but if I'm feeling, I got to get better. I get, maybe a couple weeks or, but I realized just how bad it was when a doctor came in and told me that, I could live somewhat independent in a power wheelchair. And I think it was me and my mom in the room. And that's when we realized that this was something that was with me the rest of my life.
My earliest recollection is waking up after the surgery in ICU, and they, basically while I was there, pretty much told me that I had a spinal cord injury. And I remember at the time, okay, I'm alive. I know I had surgery. I know I need to recover, and I know that my husband, that Jim, is okay. He's alive too, and that's the most important thing. Spinal cord injury, okay, and subsequent paralysis, and you're like, yeah, okay, but you don't have any idea what that entails. And then you kind of try things out. Well, what does that mean? I can't move my legs. Oh, I can't actually get out of this bed. But I don't think there was any time that I can recall that I was actually in denial of it. I pretty much was like, okay, all right, if that's what it means, that's what it is. We're alive, and we'll figure out what we need to do from here on out.
I didn't have much time to feel the emotions that I should have been feeling, in that, I was doing therapy, I think it was 3 hours a day, and then I would get extra time. And then when I wasn't doing rehab, I had plenty of supporters up here. I think we took over the floor on 512. The things that I liked on 512, the rehab was great. I mean, granted, I couldn't do much. I was working on petty things that, it seemed petty, but they were important, rolling over and, working on my dexterity and working on the things I had. And it was, 3 to 4 hours a day of strenuous exercises, and it really, as much as I shouldn't say I enjoyed it, it was what I enjoyed working out before my injury, and I enjoyed it on 512, even if it was completely different. I think early onset, there's just, I think 512 had a good balance between no hope and false hope. Looking back, I probably would have liked maybe getting into the standing table more and getting up a little bit, but I don't think I was ready. But I think the experience was something that went well. I think there was a good balance. I never realized, that you lose function in your bowel and bladder, and other things like spasticity that come along with it, and a lot of people don't know about that, and it was something that I learned quite quickly. And I actually enjoyed being on 512 in that you have to feel the sense of normalcy yet. Like you're in the comfort of, I like hearing talking to other people that are in the same boat.
On the rehab, it became a family, and I felt safe there, and I felt good there, and people were really nice. The nurses were really nice, and the rehab guys are really nice, and
The techs, all of the support staff.
they were. I got nothing. I can't say enough good about up there. I got doing stuff. I got motivated. They taught me how to move my arms to get out of my chair, and they, dexterity movements, and started getting more weight training, and it was just.
Well, it helped you build your confidence.
Yeah,
back.
I felt safe again. I didn't feel like I was going to be laying in bed and never do anything the rest of my life.
They pretty much let you know everything and have you mentally prepared for your task at home, or they just motivate you through the whole therapy sessions. So you basically just get a head start from your therapist. They let me get some visits home, and it really brought my spirits back up. Around the time I was discharged from the hospital, it was like my PT again, Diana, and my OT Simon taught me a lot, so I was like prepared to go home. When I first got home, some things were difficult, but as I adjust and I tell people like stop helping me do everything so I can do it on my own. And I just motivated myself like I can do it. It's nothing wrong with me. I'm just sitting down.
When we got to the rehab unit, I think we were excited to go. We thought, okay, great, we're getting closer to getting home. We thought that, that was the big goal. We wanted to get home. We wanted to leave the hospital.
Definitely wanted to go home.
We thought.
But as time went on, the thought changed a little bit. It got to be more scary about going home.
Well, and I didn't realize that. I just thought, okay, he wants to come home. I want him to come home. It's going to be better. We won't have to chase around as much. And I didn't even really anticipate his anxiety about coming home at all.
See, in the hospital, when I was in the hospital for so long a time, on the rehab floor, everybody became like my close family.
Yeah.
Which was, the more I stayed there, the closer everybody got. It was like I had more of a family than when I was out home, so.
Well, we don't have a real support staff or group. We had a lot of support here. And when we got home, it was us.
We should have tried to stay overnight with each other a couple times before we went home. Definitely would have helped a lot, because nobody really knew right then. My wife came to the hospital a couple times in the morning to see what went on, where I took a shower and all that kind of stuff. But I think to spend the night and just us two getting ready for bed and getting up in the morning, so that would have prepared us a lot more.
I did go home. I was up at 5:12, I think, after maybe midway through, maybe 3 weeks into my stay. I went home for the day and relaxed and had friends over. And I think I went home on at least one occasion, maybe more. And that was nice. It was nice to know that I was coming back, though, at that point. I was on 512 for 5 weeks, I believe, and that was a transition that was really difficult. I had, gained a good amount at rehab and learned how to function in an altered manner, but I still was completely dependent on people. I was dependent on my mom, my grandma, my dad, friends, and the house wasn't really modified. I was living in the dining room. I mean, we did modify it to an extent, but our house isn't up and down.
Yeah, when I first went home from the hospital, I knew that there was going to be some transition, some significant transition to living at home. And I think one of the most difficult things, one of the scariest things is when I left the hospital was I'm on my own. I don't have that support group because we didn't really have any relatives that we can rely on or anything. We don't have any family or anything around, and none of our friends was available to actually help us. They all work and certainly weren't able to be there full time with us or anything. I felt it scared. It was like being thrust into an unknown because your perspective is completely different when you're in a wheelchair.
What was difficult was like transferring, like in and out the shower, or getting my own self dressed. But as time went on, I got used to it, and adjusted to it and didn't need any help. When I first got discharged from the hospital, I was able to go out in the community and, you know, just live a normal teenage life. I wasn't letting the wheelchair stop me. I still was, you know, out and about. Like going into the community, I went to like rec centers and like helped kids out, because once kids saw that I was still alive, they really looked up to me, and I really motivated them to stay in school and graduate. And so I just felt good from like how little kids was looking up to me, and it just motivated me more. My daily routine is to wake up, get in the shower, or transfer myself in the shower, transfer myself out the shower, get dressed, get my own self dressed, and be on my way to school, and work hard in therapy. And just study a lot. I've just been studying.
Yeah, things when we went home were...
They were really tough. Well, first of all, we went home without any help. We were going to manage it by
Right.
ourselves, and I was home for a week, and I was going to go back to work after that.
That
Was way too ambitious. I think we overestimated the time it would take to do things, is probably more accurate.
The time issue was, we were way out of whack. We figured once we got home, it'd be back to normal, right?
Our new normal. I mean, we knew we were going to have changes, and we thought we could handle it, and that it wasn't going to be a big deal. Yes, it would take more time, but we thought we can do it. We have a nurse that comes during the week to help us.
In the morning
With part of the morning, not all of it. Matt gets up, or we both wake up. Matt eats his breakfast in bed, because we found that's easier. Eat his
Faster.
breakfast in bed, then he caths, and then he goes in and does his does his bowel routine.
Yeah.
And the nurse comes after breakfast and after he's cathed, and he's either had his suppository or whatever he's going to do that
Right.
day. And when he's ready to transfer into that shower chair, she's there. So then she picks up where I leave off. I go get ready for work, and then Matt finishes his routine.
And then I go to
off
work.
He goes.
We got a hospital bed for only, a little over a month and a half, and then we sent it back. We went right back to our regular bed. We bought a sleep number bed, and that works out really good. The fear of falling scared the death out of me right off the bat. You know, I hear people getting fallen, and you know, having people come pick you up and stuff like that, or help you get back in the chair.
Well, and you notice he's always saying we, and it's really like that. It's definitely a team thing. It's not an individual.
It's definitely
There's no way that
it's a
you
group
could-
effort here.
Yeah,
We've
it is
been
group.
definitely a group effort, but there just
Yeah.
needs to be a little more thought into before people are going home. You know, there really
Yeah.
needs to be a whole program about that. After I went home, the best thing that happened, I went back to work within a week, maybe
Part-time.
less than a week.
We started
I didn't
going
go-
a couple hours a day.
Yeah, I started slow, and then, because I had a lot of doctor's appointments yet then, once they all subsided down to nothing, I went back to work full time, 8-10 hours a day.
Slowly. You didn't
Yeah,
go right
well, I
away.
went pretty fast.
Yeah,
The longer I could stay, the better I liked it, you know?
When I went home for good, it was I think it was 7 or 8 weeks, maybe let's say 8 weeks after the injury onset, and it was strictly I'm gonna walk. I'm not doing anything unless I walk mentality. You know, I had my mom's mom, so my grandmother. She was telling me, "Oh, you can do anything that anybody else does. You're gonna go back to school, and you got to start thinking about that." And I wasn't ready for that. I want to do rehab 20 hours a day. I want to, you know, I'm not doing anything unless I'm walking and able-bodied. So it was tough. Listen, I had a couple friends who would tell me that, "Oh, you can do," you know, everybody's saying you can do anything anybody else can do, and you can do all this and that. But I didn't want to hear it. I wanted to walk, and then I could get back on the path to life. I guess the emotions, I'd say that I was an emotional roller coaster for the first 2 years. I went to Shepherd Center in 2010, which was January, so that March would have been 2 years, and that's when my emotions started to stabilize. And I don't know if I went back, if I could really. I think everybody just overcomes obstacles at their own pace.
I couldn't wait to go home.
I was going to say, you were pretty glad to
I was
to be
very
home
glad
with
to
it.
be discharged.
Even though it was, now we're in a house that, at the time, she found herself in a house that was much more difficult to get around in.
Yeah.
We made some quick temporary adjustments, and it became a little easier, but it was never a great place to get around in a wheelchair, because it wasn't designed for that. Because I got to the point where I could take care of myself pretty good, but taking care of her was a bit of an adjustment again, and there was, and she had some complications, so there's some times when it was kind of a little bit overwhelming, but those were fairly few, and it all finally resolved itself after a couple weeks.
You recall those as being fairly few. I recall every day as being a challenge.
And it was a handful, but each day was a little better, and then we eventually did outpatient rehab together for weeks, and
then you went back to work. Yeah.
I went back to work about 5 months after the accident, and you went back to work about 8 months after the accident.
My top priority in life is therapy. My second priority will be school. And my third priority is just motivating the youth. And I like to help kids out, because they listen to me, and I just like to be the voice for the people. The kind of job I would like to get, it's a coaching job, really. I would like to coach players, and I just want to be a coach or a sports analyst. 5 years, I see myself with my own business, and pretty much my own business, and volunteer to help the youth. Just help the community, give back on the community. What it's like being in college is really fun. It's basically full of excitement, it's fun to learn new things, stuff that you didn't know. And, raise your hand, ask questions. It's just interesting. It's interesting to learn more. I like to learn. You live and you learn.
Going to work is my priority now. I'm the owner of the business, and when I left it, if I hadn't come back when I was, my business would have been gone.
And that we found frustrating too, is everybody just assumed you weren't going to go back to work. You were just going to go on Medicaid. You're just going to go on Social Security. And that's not what we were thinking at all from the go. That was not going to be what we were doing.
It wasn't me. I wasn't ready to stop life yet. I wanted to go.
Matt's got 6 raised bed gardens that are about, 3 foot off the ground?
No, they're 16 inches off the ground.
16 inches to be exact.
16 exactly. They're 4 foot wide, 10 foot long. I got 6 of them, and I'll probably put 2 more on.
Which is something he liked to do before.
I always had a big garden my whole life, but this way I can have a garden.
Yeah, we're still gardening.
Yeah.
And we just started bicycling with Rochester Rehab.
Yeah, did bicycling on Monday nights. Did the bicycling, then right after bicycling, I go to the gym for an hour workout afterwards. So.
Which you do twice a week.
Yeah. Future goals in my life are to just get them stronger and more efficient, self-efficient, so I don't need You know, if my wife wants to go somewhere, she can go, not worry about me, you know. I'm getting close to there. We figured another year it should be totally self-efficient.
Well, it's nice to reflect on the things that we are able to do now that we weren't able to do in the beginning. We have to remind ourselves sometimes of where we have come.
A lot of things we couldn't do that we do now, though.
Yeah.
There is a lot of
Yeah.
things.
Yep. As of right now, I'm taking my last class, my last class online, and then I'm going to do an internship in the fall. I actually have an interview on Monday at First Niagara, so I'm hoping that pans out. I'm waiting for my vehicle. There's something had to be signed in this, up in Albany, so hopefully that pans out where I can, they help pay for modifications to the car, and then I just have to find a van, probably a minivan, which is huge. The modifications really are going to help because those are $20,000, I think. And then I do some volunteer work. It keeps me quite busy over the summer. There's also, just getting more involved and getting a feel for what life is going to be like, and trying to move forward in a different manner than I would have been had I not been hurt. Big successes, definitely starting school back up. Overcoming the obstacles as far as from a mental standpoint, and realizing, which that happened somewhere around the 2-year mark, that I realized that life goes on. And as far as there were achievements physically that I was, moving my fingers or taking a step or something like that. Those were big milestones. Getting back into driving, that was big. And I've done really well in school, and that's something I'm proud of. And this summer was a pretty big, because I've been doing school, but this summer I've been able to, probably with the volunteer stuff I'm doing, I probably put in 20 some odd hours a week, which is a little bit of a pain for my mom because I'll have meetings at different parts of the city. It's been good getting my feet wet, my wheels wet, getting back into the feel of things. And
No, we do a lot of things together. I think we've done some traveling. We've been to, since the spinal cord injury, I've actually done things I never would have done. We probably never would have gone. Well, we talked about going to Australia, I guess, but we've been to New Zealand and Australia. Because of my spinal cord injury, because I was involved in actually doing canoeing program where I was able to do international competitions, and we've been to a number of places, Hawaii, California, doing that. It's a lot of fun, and so there's always a bright side to whatever whatever happens. You look for the bright side of things. You look for the good side and look forward, because like I said, a long time ago. Early on, it doesn't do you a lot of good to just look back. So do I have? I try to think that that I have things that, of course, that I haven't done yet that I really want to do. I no longer work for the employer that I had worked for. I spent 23 years at a company that I don't work for anymore. That actually was my choice, though. It wasn't them that decided to let me go. It was me that decided to separate from what became kind of an unsatisfactory job. I would like to go back to work again, but I did some home online schooling. I've working on it, which I haven't finished yet, but plan to finish another different degree program, which I completely did online. It's more a management type degree, and I hope to be able to use that sometime. It's aviation oriented, so maybe when the economy picks up, there'll be an opportunity for me to actually get into something a little different again. So yeah, I do have things that I want to do, prospects and plans, and I'm looking forward to it really.
Discharged from the hospital with a spinal cord injury, the more you're on your own by yourself, and it just get easier for you. Yeah, and like you have to work out yourself and do your own therapy at home. Have your weights, the lifts, and just motivate yourself. Just carry yourself. People with spinal cord injuries need to understand that the more you do for yourself, like pick up stuff by yourself and push yourself with the chair, the more you work your muscles, the better your spine gets, the better your balance gets, the better your upper body gets. So you need upper body strength first. My advice I would give people who just found out about their spinal cord injury is just keep your head up, stay strong, don't feel down, and I just hope I motivate you to just stay focused and never give up. It's never over. You can do it.
Don't go on your own. Like we went on our own with no help, no nothing at home. You got to be my wife she was very strong-willed. And I'm telling you, without her, I probably wouldn't have survived. You know, she's got like a big heart, and plus she's very strong.
I know it's time for a break when I'm starting to get short on patience and how I'm getting frustrated, or if I get frustrated with
simple things.
So we take one little thing at a time. You know, we'll say, okay, you know, like this time I was going away, and Matt was going to take care of the dog by himself. That was a new thing we did, and he was going to go out and water all the plants and have the haul the hose around.
Yeah.
So we try to take one little thing at a time and push
little
it
by
to
little
try
we get
a
there,
little bit more.
But people really need to talk to people. I mean, it's so important.
And I tell them just to work hard, to realize that life goes on, to just move at your own pace. I mean, work hard, obviously, in rehab, but you really can only do what your mind tells you. And that's what the advice I give them.
It's not that I don't have down moments, have moments of, you know, when I'm pretty low. It's that I know that they're not going to last. I know that I'm going to get out of that, and so you have it, and okay, now it's over with. Okay, I'm ready to, you know, get on with things. I have new friends now that are, and every time we get together, people that are in wheelchairs, we talk about things. We talk about issues. So how do you deal with this, or how do you deal with that? And it's more like, oh, did this happen to you? You know what happened to me the other day? And we can talk with each other about things that even our family members can't really relate to, because a lot of times, even though you live with someone, you don't know what it's like to live in a wheelchair until you live in a wheelchair. And so interacting with other people, that is the support group, whether it's formal or informal. Having people to interact with makes things a lot easier to deal with. And I try to tell people who are relatively newly injured when I see them, don't think that you have to be alone. When you leave the hospital setting, when you leave the rehab center, you can rely on, and please do try to rely on people in the community who want to give you a hand and want to just to talk and talk things through. Because whatever you're going through, somebody has already been through it. And somebody has dealt with it and knows how to give you advice and can steer you in a direction that will be helpful. Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. So, yeah, keep looking forward, and whatever you've got to work with is what you've got to work with. And when bad things happen, you pick yourself up and you move on. I think the biggest thing might be to say that, and I don't mean to, I'm not being flippant or anything, but life is good. So make the most of it.